Hi there, my name's Heather, and I'm currently a student at VCC in the Provincial Instructors Diploma Program. Today, I'm going to show you how you can use a memory matrix to informally assess your students in the classroom.
As an instructor, one of the biggest questions I've been asking myself is, how can I tell if my students are learning? Incorporating informal assessment into my everyday classroom activities can help me keep track of student progress and determine if I need to adapt my instruction or target certain content. The classroom assessment technique I like to use is a memory matrix. It is a basic table where row and column headings are given, but cells are left empty for students to fill in. It can be used to organize information and illustrate relationships between items and can vary in length depending on course content. This technique is driven by the need to assess students' recall of important course content, as well as their skill at quickly organizing information into categories. In other words, applying what they have learned. This allows an instructor to quickly see if students have memorized basic information and gives insight into how it is organized in their memory. This technique works best in courses with a lot of content, such as natural science, foreign language, music theory, history, and law. It can also be used as a pre- or post-assessment tool to see where a student is at or to see how far they've come. To create a memory matrix for your classroom, start by making a draft matrix. Ensure the material you use relates back to what you have taught. Next, fill it in yourself and make sure the material is a good fit, that the answers are relevant, direct, and not confusing. I like to do this on the computer. That way, I also have an answer key on hand for when I need it. When you are ready to use with your students, you can have them copy the matrix off of your overhead or drawing on the board. You may also choose to hand out a hard copy. If you do create handouts, make sure you are mindful of how much room you provide in each cell for a student to answer. Too little, and you limit getting effective responses. Also, make sure you give clear instructions that set the expectations. This may include an explanation of why the matrix is relevant to their learning, how many responses you expect to see in each cell, and a reasonable time limit to complete the exercise. Once you have collected the completed matrices, you will need to analyze the data. Look for differences between and among cells to determine what students know well and what they may be missing. Ensure you give feedback as soon as possible. While this technique provides immediate feedback for the student, in order for it to be used most effectively, it is best to review the results as a class. This allows you to point out what students did well on and where they may need a little work. It also allows you to explain how you are going to address gaps in knowledge. This may require reteaching components or helping individual students who had difficulty with the assessment. There are some great advantages to using a memory matrix. The simple format makes it easy to create and complete, with little time and energy required. It's easy to assess if students have recalled info, can categorize facts, and understand the relationships between them. It's also quite versatile. You can draw it on the board, have students sketch their own, or provide a handout. Students can work individually, in pairs or small groups, or as a whole class. And you can use it at different stages of the course, providing more insight into your learners. The memory matrix can help drive course content by allowing you to see what information has landed and what may need more work. Some students love it because it's visual, and they have the added bonus that it helps them memorize the material they're learning. They say every rose has its thorns, and I guess the same could be said about the memory matrix. It has its limitations. Its use of restrictive categories makes it unlikely you will uncover if a student has an alternate way of organizing items. It can make complex systems appear mundane or static when they are actually complex and dynamic. And it's hard to determine if answers are a result of what was taught or what was already known. If you do choose to use the memory matrix in your classroom, there are some best practices you can follow to make it most effective. Start simple. Limit the number of categories initially so that students master the technique quickly. If you do feel the need to add complexity or increase levels of understanding, consider removing alternate headings or cell items from your matrix. You may also consider having a group discussion or think pair share exercise for students to look at alternative perspectives. In a memory matrix, some information can appear to overlap into more than one heading, so you may need to clarify when topics appear ambiguous. Clear expectations can also help add purpose and will create more buy-in from your students. It is also a good idea to mention that the matrix can oversimplify topics that in reality are complex, and that the memory matrix is only one part of their possible learning potential. Try the memory matrix the next time you're in your classroom, and don't forget to have some fun.